Hi, this is Kim Hoffman, and I'm here to present my reverse engineering project. I decided to do my reverse engineering project using a battery-powered pencil sharpener. And a pencil sharpener is a tool used to make dull pencils sharp for the purpose of writing and drawing. I decided to go back and look at the history of patents for pencil sharpeners, and I discovered that the first patent was back in 1828 by a French mathematician, and the sharpener was made out of a block of wood and a metal file, which was set at a 90-degree angle. Pencils would be inserted into the block, and the user would have to manually turn the pencil. There was one flaw: the lead would often break. A few years later, in 1837, a pair of scientists came along with a new version that had two blades that were set at the same 90-degree angle. The flaw with this pencil sharpener was that you needed to partially sharpen a pencil in order for this sharpener to even work. Fast forward to 1847, where a new approach to sharpeners came about in the form of a prism-type cone pencil sharpener, which was found in France. This version was patented, and the pencil would be inserted, and all sides of the pencils would be whittled away at the same time. Then around 1904, we had A.B. Dick Planetary design a patent to rotate the sharpener from it to its side in order to collect shavings. Opened a whole new world for pencil sharpening. And then we fast forwarded after many other trials and tribulations with pencil sharpeners all the way to 1917 when Farnham Printing and Company developed the first electrical pencil sharpener. And then fast forward to 1940 when they finally hit the general public. This is my example of a pencil sharpener that I'm going to take apart. My pencil sharpener is not electric. My pencil sharpener is battery powered. It is oval in shape, and it is small enough to fit on a desktop. The sharpener itself is extremely light. It only weighs a few ounces. It has 4 AA batteries that go in the back portion. They sit back in here. And when you insert those 4 batteries, obviously it tends to weigh a little bit more, about a half a pound. To use the pencil sharpener, the user would insert the pencil into the hole right here and push down slightly. Once you push down, it causes the motor to turn on and hopefully sharpen your pencil. Some of the components of my pencil sharpener. My pencil sharpener is mostly black with a gray top. The black does not stand out, and it can blend in with other desk accessories, and I feel like this one was probably designed for a typical office setting because we find that pencil sharpeners can be available in all different colors, especially vibrant colors, which you would probably find in a child's bedroom or in a classroom. But since mine is black in color, I think it was designed more for an office. Materials. When I went through and took apart my pencil sharpener, I noticed that most of it was made out of plastic. There is a little bit of metal involved also, but the majority of it is made out of a very hard plastic. It is very strong, and there's a gear, a helical gear that rotates when the pencil is depressed, and that was extremely durable and very strong, mostly made out of some type of an alloy metal. Okay, so I flipped the pencil sharpener over to the bottom, and that's where I found there were 4 screws. So I decided to take those screws off. I took the 2 larger screws off first, and then I took the second set of screws off. When I took the first set of screws off, these are the an example of the screw. They were quite large, about 4 inches long. And then I took the second set of screws off. As soon as I took the second set of screws off, the entire pencil sharpener literally fell apart in my hands. So I wasn't able to show the different pieces because they had fallen apart. So this is what had happened after. I had the outer covering right here. This is the piece that is on top of the outer covering, and then this is the piece that would go beneath it. So this is the layering of the 3. This is the cup where the pencil shavings would go, which would sit under here. The 4 batteries sit in here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and this piece sits on top of these little things here which would help the batteries to be powered. Moving along, let me go back. It's not letting me go back. There, sorry. I wanted to talk about these gears. So when I opened it up, I found that there were gears. There's a gear here, and one here. I found with those gears that there's also like a greasy residue that was around all the gears, which I surmised was a way that the gears would move. There's also, if you look up closely, you could see that within the large gear, there's also a small set of gears. So these two line up, the small gear with the large gear, and that's how they're able to turn. So then what I was able to do was I actually took these gears off these pegs that they're sitting on, and these would be the pegs after the gears were removed, and that's what it looked like. So I tried to figure out a way of taking these off, but this looks like melted plastic. And I wasn't able to get it off, no matter how hard I tried, other than breaking it. And I didn't want to break the pencil sharpener because it's still a functioning pencil sharpener. The same thing with these. They were also fused into place with like a hot metal. Hot plastic. So again, I didn't want to take those off with the condition of ruining the pencil sharpener. So moving on. This was the inner piece of the pencil sharpener as it fell into my hand. This section over here is where the battery connection would be. Here's another angle of it. And this wire, I was able to follow it through. I wasn't able to get these off because, again, these are those crazy plastic things that if I took them off, I would have literally broken the pencil sharpener. But I was able to get my eye into there and follow it through. And there is a connection from this motor here, the servo motor, that runs from here through the rotator all the way over to these battery connectors. These battery connectors obviously would attach to the top of the batteries, and then the slide proceeding would be where the other side of the connection would be. In this spot here, this is where the battery would in fact, not the battery, excuse me, the pencil would fit in to the actual mechanism. And this is where the helical motor, the helical gear, excuse me, spins around. This is the helical blade itself that the other piece would fit on top of. And this rotates quite quickly when a pencil is inside it. And I put my hand on these edges quite carefully, and they were not sharp to me. So I made the assumption that inside the blades must be sharp, either that or when they spin with severity, that they are able to sharpen a pencil. This is the top. If you were looking down at the pencil sharpener, this would be the top portion. So this is the belly that I just had in my hand. I just flipped it over. So I wanted to show you this piece that I discovered right here. So if you were to insert a pencil, what would happen is this black little piece right here, this would actually insert into the pencil sharpener itself. And I discovered that this was actually the on switch, which turned the motor of the pencil sharpener on. And it caused the rotator to start running. After I was able to take all the pieces apart, I laid them on the table, and I discovered that there were actually 14 pieces to the entire pencil sharpener, and this is all of them laid out on the table, including the servo motor, the helical blade, the bottom housing, the middle housing, the top housing, place where you insert the pencil, the screws, and the shaving receptacle. So my final summary. After I had a chance to examine the pencil sharpener, there were a few things that I was able to comment on. The first thing is that the pencil sharpener is made out of hard plastic, and I don't feel like it's cheaply made. I do feel, however, that it's something that could be manufactured in a warehouse, but the smaller pieces would have to be put together by a human. And I feel like the alloy is probably an aluminum of some sort that moves the helical blade. And like I said, I feel like there was a lot of money that was spent on the smaller pieces, especially that helical blade. And I roughly remember spending about $15 on this pencil sharpener. So I think some of it went into the cost